And welcome everyone to the BALListic Report Sports. I'm Taylor Moore. It's Corey
Corey.
Spivey. And we just doing a recap of the Titans' victory this afternoon. They squeaked out a 41-38 win in overtime against the Houston Texans. And Corey, after watching the game, what's some thoughts right after the game?
Well, one of the things they did really good today, I thought it was a little bit of too much like optimism coming into the game, but I think they actually pulled off one of our keys that we both had, which was get some pressure. They didn't, create havoc all game, but they did a pretty good job, a better job than they have done all year of containing him, especially. So they were able to dial up some pressure. They got some key stops, some key sacks at perfect times, and I don't know, man. That was the main thing that I took out of this game defensively. And of course, Derrick Henry came in and he did what he always did: break history in multiple ways, goes over to 2,000 yards, becomes the eighth player to do that. And I think that was his third straight game, 200 plus yards in the team. So those are their major keys to victory today.
Yeah, definitely. Because my thing is that I feel like everyone knew Derrick Henry was going to get the ball,
Right.
but someone else made a big game changer throughout the whole entire each quarter. Like they made a good play, and that was for me personally. I say AJ Brown. Man,
Yeah.
he's someone you can kind of count on. I would say now, because we all knew that Derrick Henry was going to get his yards, but when it came down to those third and long plays, he made some heck of a plays that we really needed to keep the drive going because, like you said, like the defense gave up a lot of plays, and I feel like if Deshaun Watson would have had more time on the clock, maybe towards the end, you know, it could have easily went the other way around. But
Yeah.
you know, AJ Brown definitely came through with some major plays, especially that fourth quarter, and also towards the end, the last minute or so. So that was definitely something. I was just like, man, without him, I don't know, like what would have happened.
Yeah, and I like that they took another one of the keys that I had. They took an aggressive approach. Even though they did allow them to get back in the game late, I thought they were very aggressive. Derrick Henry came out and did, he had over, I think, 113 yards in the first half. So he came out, he established himself very early. He made sure that they knew, hey, we're coming with this wrecking ball, and y'all gonna have to stop him. I thought Tannehill played pretty well. I thought that he would coming off of the game that he had, and of course, like you said, AJ Brown. I did think that I thought that they were going to try to just run out of the clock and get into overtime. I was hoping that wasn't going to be there. So I liked that they came out on that last drive and, hey, they took it right to them. Hey, look, we trying to get in field goal range. And they played like they had their playoff, hopes on the line, their division hopes on the line. And I think it really did pay off.
Yeah, and also like with Arthur Smith, I'm glad that he used Ryan Tannehill in a lot of those run option plays, a lot of those quarterback runs, because that saved us plenty of time. Because I know it was third down on that second to last drive, and then they went shotgun and had Derrick Henry to the right. I'm like, man, please don't give Derrick Henry because I just felt like they was gonna crowd the box.
Yeah.
But it seemed like each time they did that quarterback run, Ryan Tannehill was able to get 5, 10 yards each time. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. I thought that the Texas defense would at least been on the lookout for it. But the way Derrick Henry was playing is like, hey, you can't count out Derrick Henry.
Right.
That's the point of, so really like that's the benefit of having someone like Henry. So when everything is clicking, it's hard to judge. Should you put all your focus on Henry or should you put
Yeah.
half of it on Henry or Tannehill? And
Right.
position, it seemed like they were putting it more towards Derrick Henry and he just played in our favor, especially in that second to last play call.
Yeah.
Hey man, so what was some plays where you thought that, man, I feel like the Texans probably gonna pull this one out?
Well, I kind of felt like that. Well, when they went up 31-15, I didn't think they were going to be able to come back. But I mean, pretty early, it was kind of obvious. I mean, the first drive was great by the Titans defense. They went out there, they did what they were supposed to do. They got a sack on the opening drive, or at least a stop. Um, but I felt like all throughout the game, he was kind of having his way But the play that really was like, oh man, it was like they're going to pull this out was that big play they got where Adoree, he didn't sink deep enough. They were saying that in the commentary, he did not sink deep enough, and he hasn't looked right since he's come back off of IR. But I think you got to get the reps in. But that play where Brandon Cooks got open, kind of near the end of the game, I think he picked up a good chunk of yards. That's when I thought, oh man, they're gonna get this touchdown and kind of take the air out of us, stop the train, and just kind of go away with it. But that that was it for me. And I also, when early in the game, um, it was obvious they were going with Derrick Henry over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I thought there was going to come a time where they were going to completely sell out and Tannehill wasn't going to be able to get back because they were coming after him. They were coming after him. So they started getting a couple sacks on him. And that's when I started thinking, okay, they're ramping up this pressure and they may start making it difficult for us down the stretch. But those are two of the things that I thought that kind of made me feel like, I don't know, we might not be able to pull this one out.
Yeah, I think for me, when the Texans scored, this was probably third, I think third quarter, and then that's when the Titans got the ball back, and then Henry, he found an open hole, and then Zach Cunningham, it's like he barely hit that ball and he fumbled.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because Zach Cunningham, the linebacker for the Texans, it seemed like he was the only one who could really get to him. He made a
Yeah.
lot of tackles throughout the game, and that one play, because because the thing about Henry is that he don't fumble the ball a lot. So when he does fumble, it's kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a major turning point right there. And then from there on that second to last drive, we was going down the field, and we had two major calls. I know one of the calls they called against the rookie, our offensive lineman, that holding call, and that was the same play with Derrick Henry ran about 25, 30 yards for a touchdown. And even the commentators were saying, hey, it's like they kind of nitpicking on this call. That was a good block. He just, blocked him enough where, hey, he just pushed him to the grave. So man, so really like that play, I was like, man, like all the calls are going against with these flags. I said, I don't know if they paid the refs, but it's but this is not looking good for us.
Yeah.
But hey, but just the fact that, they didn't run away from their script, and it seemed like sometimes like when they get like in pressure moments, it seemed like they leave the game plan. And that was something that they stuck with, even though, we was having some difficult times, they still stuck with the game plan. And that was something that I definitely thought was pretty good.
Yeah. And going back to that play where Derrick Henry fumbled, that was only his second fumble of the season, but you know, he did get to it. Kind of looked like he wasn't trying to strip the ball. It kind of looked like he just turned around and was just kind of, trying to get a hand up, and he just got lucky.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. And he's also a Vanderbilt product. So
Mhm.
shouts out to him
Oh
and
yeah.
that's repping there. But yeah, when that play, I don't know that I ever felt like for sure, man, we were out of this game. Even after that fumble, I kind of thought, well, Mike Vrabel was good at managing the clock. So I kind of thought that he would at least get them in a position where they could win the game. My biggest fear was when they were about to go up 38-35, that they were going to score with too much time. And I thought that the defense was struggling to contain Watson as all teams have all season. So I thought that they were going to leave him with too much time and allow him to score that touchdown. But I'll tell you something else that was key before I flip it back to you. That 2-point conversion that got called back. Because if they have that, we could be talking about a totally different ball game.
And like that's the thing, like it was so many plays and calls that if it maybe, would have went through, like for example, uh, like I think that play, okay, so on the Texas last drive, I knew that Deshaun Watson he threw a dart to Brandon Cooks. And I
Yeah.
seen Malcolm Butler, like they both were like tugging for it. So it was basically like a 50-50 ball, and they gave it to Brandon Cooks. But I was thinking to myself, like, like initially it seemed like Brandon Cooks had it, but when they both were on the ground tugging for it, it seemed like Malcolm Butler had more of the control.
Yeah.
So that play right there, they could have saved, the Titans from having to, make that deep pass to AJ Brown, and to also put pressure on their kicker too as well. Because I think it's Slaughterman, because
Yeah.
I don't know with him, he's a rookie,
Yep.
so man, really, it's just so many plays, that could have went the other way around, and that's really just something just like, man, but what do you think about Corey Davis?
He looked like he was trying to establish himself because I feel like all season he's been trying to do one of two things, if not both. Prove to the Titans you messed up by not extending me, and also prove that he can be that number one guy if he leaves. I don't necessarily think that he can be, but I think in this game, uh, it wasn't his best game. He had some key drops that kind of, I don't want to say that it put the game on the line. It wasn't his best game, but I mean, all season he's been trying to establish himself as a good product in the free agency market. I don't know. I guess you can say I was kind of indifferent towards him on this game.
Yeah, yeah, and like it's the thing because I'm definitely rooting for him. Especially after his brother had passed, earlier this
Yeah.
season. But it was just some plays like, man, like you just like wide open, and you got to make that pass. I mean, make the catch. Because I know that early in the game, the first quarter, so I know that Deshaun Watson threw the interception. So
Yeah.
the Titans had the ball and it was driving, and it was like a third down play, and he threw it, and that's when Ryan Tannehill he threw a nice pass to Corey Davis,
Mm-hmm.
and and it just went right through his hands.
Yeah.
And really plays like that, we gotta have those plays in the playoffs. Like
Right.
plays like that, we can't let that third down play just go away like that.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to settle for the 3 points. So it's kind of like I'm glad we won the game, but if we were to lose this game, it's kind of like, wow, drops like that, you
Yeah.
look back on, it's like, man, I wish we had another shot at it,
Right.
you know. But but overall, hey, you had a better score prediction than me. I said
Yeah. 41,
28-24.
right?
What was your score prediction? What was yours?
I had 41-20. So
Yeah.
I got the
Hey,
41
you
right.
get the phone.
I didn't think they would be able to get 38 points on us. But I mean, go back and talk about some of those things where had they have lost this game, you look back thinking, nitpicking almost. Hindsight is always 2020. But again, had they lost this game, you look back at some of those plays, the Corey Davis drops. You have, some of the key penalties that they had in key times, and especially that 4th and 11. I mean, I know I texted you during the game, and I was like, "Yo, I know one of my keys was come out and be aggressive, but I don't know if that was too aggressive." But in my mind, when they were, I think what they were trying to do at first when it came out, it seemed like, okay, they're just going to be trying to draw them off sides. Then I'm thinking, wait a minute, even the offsides just puts you in a 4th and 6 position. So it kind of seemed like they were trying to go hurry up and catch them off guard, but it just didn't work. I don't think there was ever a point in time where I was thinking they're going to get this 4th and 11. I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm thinking like this can come back to bite them later in the game.
Yeah, and really like when they play, okay, like when I see them go back on the field on that 4th 11, I was thinking to myself like they're playing like they're the Texans and like they have something, you
Right.
know, like to do. I'm just like, what's going on? But at the same time, like what I was thinking was that, maybe, if they would have put it off to them, they probably think in the back of their mind like our defense not the best, and they probably gonna go right back down and score again. So let's go and give them an extra 20, 30 yards just to save time on the clock. So that's the only logical thing I can think of, just just saving a little time for the Titans to get back on offense again, because they knew that the Texans were probably going to get at least 3 points. And the
Mm-hmm.
way they were throwing the ball, because I got to give it to him, Brandon Cooks showed out.
He did, bro.
And the thing is that with the Texans, like, okay, so Brandon Cooks is really their solid number one receiver.
Yeah.
I can't think of a number two receiver they have on their team, right now. I know they have Will Fuller, but I don't think he played today. I
No,
don't, I don't remember. Did he play?
Well, they had a situation in I think where either Will Fuller got injured
Mhm.
or he kind of opted out. I know they had two situations. Kenny Stills, I think, was the other guy.
Yeah.
One of them opted out, and one of them was dealing with injury all year, and so I don't think he ever really, neither one of them really ever contributed
Yeah.
much. So yeah, Brandon Cooks was it was him or bust.
And also, it's just kind of like a side note, like a game like that. Just think about it. They would have had DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If they
That
would have
trade
had DeAndre Hopkins, this could have been another conversation we're having right now.
definitely.
So that is something that's kind of throw out there. It's kind of like, man, it's a good win, but at the same time, we can't be satisfied by the way we play. Of course, we're
No.
happy to get, the seeding, a better seed now, but it's like, hey, we can't play like this in the playoffs, so hopefully we can get it together these next 6, 7 days and be ready to roll. And speaking of the seeding, we were guaranteed a spot, especially when the Miami Dolphins lost.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
what
lost again. They got blown out by the Buffalo Bills, and we also seen that the Indianapolis Colts they pulled out a win. You know, man. If we would have lost this game, I would have had the number 7 seed taking on the Buffalo Bills. But since we won, we are the number 4 seed taking on the number 5 seed Baltimore Ravens. So as we kind of wrap up a little bit, so what do you think about this upcoming matchup? Just briefly.
I think they've pretty much over the last few games shown they own the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? Like just how the Colts have pretty much owned us the last few years up until this, this last of two. I think same formula. You come out, you run the ball against them, you load the box, you force Lamar Jackson to beat you with his arm, just like other teams try to do with us. But ultimately, this is the matchup the Titans wanted. You don't want the Buffalo Bills, not as hot as they're playing right now. I think the Ravens are the better matchup of those two situations. I think they go out, control the clock, they shut down Lamar Jackson once again, and they move on to the next round. That's how I see it in brief.
Yeah. Man, for me, man, I want to say my X factor will probably be COVID-19
Yeah,
because we know how a lot of these players, they have to miss a couple games or because they're in the COVID-19 health, protocol. So I'm hoping that the Titans, enjoy this win tonight, but at the same time they make good decisions throughout this week so they won't be um,
yeah,
put out the game this upcoming weekend. So that's the only thing I would say for me. And like you said, hey, stick to the script. They they have to try to contain Lamar Jackson because it seemed like over the past few games, seemed like they kind of found their groove again. So it's definitely will be a little tension. I think definitely, just by the way, last meeting went, but it's it'll definitely be a good game.
yeah. The Titans will be at home in that game, so
Yeah.
hopefully they can use that to their advantage. But
Hmm. Yeah.
so
Well, y'all, we thank y'all for watching the Ballistic Report Sports, and look out for our next video as we preview the number 4 seed Titans taking on the number 5 seed Baltimore Ravens this upcoming weekend.
oh yeah,
Tighten up. Thank y'all again, and we'll catch y'all later.
tighten up, guys.
Tighten up.